Hey there, here's a quick video of where I'm at on the font creation tool. So the way you bring up the tool is you go into Windows panel, Text Mesh Pro Font Creator, which brings it up. At this point, you have this panel here with your different options. So first thing we're going to do is select the font. So we'll pick Arial. All these are FreeType fonts. Next option is either auto sizing, or you can switch to custom size where you can specify the size. I'll leave it on auto sizing for the time being. Font padding, we'll pick 8. Target resolution, you can basically pick different presets. Then character set is you can render basically the ASCII character set, the lowercase, uppercase, the numbers and the symbols, which is like plus, minus, brackets, ampersand, whatever stuff. Custom range, I'll show those. Custom characters in Unicode, I'll probably take out Unicode because it's kind of funky, and I'll explain why after. So anyway, so we'll go with ASCII, and once you're happy, you basically click Preview Font Atlas. It automatically sizes it, puts it in there. The feedback that's down here, I'm going to move that into probably a panel like here that's going to expand to sort of tell you, actually let me move the window. It's going to basically tell you something like 95 characters packed, final size 153, and whatever, some data. But I want to do that so that it tells you if you're in a manual sizing mode, like custom size. Like if I go 120 for example and hit render font, obviously we have a lot of spare space, and clearly we packed 95. But if I go like 175, I want this window to pop up to tell you, now I have to scroll, that only like 79 of them were packed, and here I have a list of which characters were not packed. I need to figure out whether or not I want to let the user know which characters were not packed or not, but at least some warning to say, hey, we didn't fit everything, because sometimes it may not be obvious that we didn't fit everything. So I'll go back to auto sizing, and there we go. Let me scroll back down. So in terms of fonts, I'll go through different options. So this is Arial, so we can pick like a different font like this to render. So here's a new font. Save texture basically saves this onto as an asset so you can reuse it. The distance field part is fully functional, but right now these two are not connected. I just need to figure out UI-wise how I'm gonna go back and forth between the two. I do want to have a separate distance field thing where they can pick their own texture, logo, whatever, and generate a distance field out of it. So I'll leave it separate, but I just need a way, I don't want them to automatically have to load the texture back in. So maybe there's a way to, whatever's here, I load it in here, or something of that nature. So anyway, I keep going. So here's another font. I'll run through the different options. So let's pick a cool font like this Jokerman, which I'd never seen, which I happen to bring in, and it's kind of cool. So it's like this neat, stylish font. So if I play with padding like 0, you'll see what it does. So everything is closer and they're bigger in terms of size. Let me scroll down here. You can't see that right now because it's outside the recording window, but the size is like 160, and if I add padding like 16, see now they're smaller, but we have a much wider padding around them. So anyway, so back to Jokerman. So this is the font. In terms of the character sets, so we can go lowercase, so now it's only the lowercase characters of the set. Now it's only the uppercase characters of the set. Now it's the numbers and symbols in the set. Then custom range allows you to specify a range. So like I want to get character 65 to character 69, which would be A, B, C, D, E. Then I want to get, here I'm picking at random, like 100 to 110, whatever that is. And then preview font. So we got the A, B, C, D, E, and some other characters in there. So that's the way you define a custom range. Then you've got custom characters, and maybe the labels aren't good, but custom characters is you actually type what you want. So A, B, C, lowercase, 1, 2, 3, and the big ABC. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, ABC, and ABC. So they can specify exactly what they want. The last option, which would be Unicode, I experimented with it, and the problem is like for some fonts, there's like 2,800 characters in the Unicode, and rendering 2,800 characters in a bitmap is just like god awful ugly. So what I'm thinking is, um, let's say you wanted to render just the Russian symbols. I don't know about Jokerman, but if I go to like custom range here and I say, well, render from 1,000 to 1,100, um, well, actually, there's nothing in that set. But if I go to Arial, for example, who has 2,800 characters, see for Arial from 1,000 to 1,100 is that looks kind of Russian to me. So my assumption is if you're Russian, you probably know where in the ASCII, whatever Unicode range your characters kind of live in. So you could actually select a custom range for your Chinese characters and whatever and just render those. So that's basically it. Let's see, did I forget anything? Yeah, the resolution, I'm not going to demo that, but it basically renders at different resolutions and that works fine. The auto sizing, let me go back to the ASCII set, for example, for, well, Arial's kind of boring. So let's pick Ravi and render it. So we have Ravi here. If I go to auto sizing and I go to custom, whatever the custom previous one that fit auto sizing, it tells us that 119 was the largest size that it was able to fit. Some optimizations that I did, if you can see here, let me clear all of that, close the window and restart, and I'll render like, again, this one. Pick padding of 8. So first time I run it, you basically get the feedback. This is the font, this is the size, number of characters that were rendered. It basically tells me this data is useless, kind of, but line height is 222 for that font, and the font height of the bitmap is 1024, and that's just like feedback from the C++ plugin. But if I hit render again on the same font, it basically tells me, oh, look, the font library was already initialized, so I'm not creating a new instance of it. And then it's saying, hey, this font that you're asking me to load a face of. So when you start TrueType, you initialize the library and it loads all the stuff for the library. Then every time you load a font, it loads a face with drivers and a bunch of stuff and a slot and all the things it needs to do. And eventually I discovered that if you kept like loading the same font over and over and over again, it was like reloading all these new faces, wasting and burning a lot of resources. So now I'm actually looking for, are you trying to generate the same face again? And if you are, don't do it because it's already loaded. Just process the new size that the user is asking for. And that's where I discovered the problem where I was experiencing the crashing, which was when you render a font, I send back the font data, which basically has this, the name, the size, and whatever. And size, this is an integer, 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 all these back and forth between C# and C++. There's no issues because they're blittable types or basic types. But this stupid little name here, because it's a string or an array, when I send a blank string to the C++, it basically fills it in and it sends it back. But every time you were hitting this, it was kind of writing it. I'm not sure how it was like shifting the memory locations of it, but eventually it would override the stuff that it was sending back to the C# code, and then it would cause Unity to just blow up. So that's all fixed now. And the other thing is now when I close the window, I destroy the instance of the library for the font engine. So if I go back here, pick another font again, and this is like lots of info now, so it's probably boring. But so now if I do this, it basically doesn't report that it loaded the library. It only reports it like now if it's already in existence and if a font already exists in memory. So now I'm destroying the instance of the library when you close the window. But as I said in my last message, I'd still want to know if there's like a memory profiler or something that I could use on the C++ side to make sure that I'm not you know, that if I'm allocating any memory, then I'm getting rid of it, that the font library isn't leaving stuff behind and whatever. So I'd love to know if there's a tool that I could use for that. So anyway, so that's a quick update. It looks like everything's pretty much running. Um, I'm not generating right now the XML for this, but I do have it. I'm just not saving it, but I do have the code and I had it. Well, I still have it running. I just need to plug that in. So I'm pretty much there. Like I said, I need to add the panel here to get the feedback for the users if some characters didn't get packed, so you know that whatever size you picked, it didn't fit. Then I just need to plug these two, and I'm thinking right now maybe when you render the font, it will show up here pre-selected and it will preload your XML in it. And then if you wanted to not use that, then you could click and load something else. Let's see, int raster. You could pick something else and generate a distance field out of that. And right now you don't see anything, which is not a bug. It's just this window is drawn first, this one is drawn second, and because we have something here, this didn't show up back here. So anyway, and as I mentioned this, I forgot one thing. I can generate, like before you could generate, you know, raster smooth with anti-aliasing or just render the fonts in, you know, black and white binary. So right now I'm not exposing that function. I'm trying to figure out, you know, should I add that? Would anybody need to generate a binary version of the font when they can get an anti-alias version? Um, and our distance field can process an anti-aliased one. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. So hopefully this all makes sense. If you have any ideas or suggestions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.